Welcome back to our channel. Today's recap is about a 1974 American crime thriller film called The Godfather 2. It is the second film in the trilogy about The Godfather. The plot is a prequel to the original story and describes the path of Vito Corleone from the start of his family business in New York City through his childhood in Sicily. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. Two parallel plots are presented in The Godfather Part 2. Following the events of the previous film, one follows mafia boss Michael Corleone in 1958 to 1959. The other is a sequence of flashbacks that follow his father, Vito Corleone, from 1917 to 1925 as he grows up in Sicily and establishes the Corleone family in New York. The movie opens in 1901 in the Sicilian village of Corleone at the funeral of young Vito's father, Antonio Andolini, who was skilled for making a derogatory remark about the local mafia boss, Don Ciccio. Because he vowed to exact revenge on the Don, Vito's older brother is killed during the parade. Ciccio dismisses Vito's mother's plea for clemency because he's certain that the 9-year-old will seek retribution in the future. Ciccio's goons kill the mother when she holds him at knife point prisoner and lets her son run away. They search the town for the youngster, but the locals help him get away. The immigration official at Ellis Island adopts Vito's hometown of Corleone as his last name and registers him as Vito Corleone after Vito arrives in New York via ship. The godfather of the Corleone family, Michael Corleone, struggles with many business and family issues in 1958 while throwing a lavish party at his Lake Tahoe, Nevada estate to mark his son's first communion in a sequence that resembles the start of the first movie. To negotiate the cost of the gaming licenses for the hotel casinos the family is purchasing, Michael meets the corrupt Nevada Senator Pat Geary in his office. Geary promises to make the process of Michael obtaining his gaming license challenging because he clearly despises Michael and other Italian businessmen who are relocating to a state to take advantage of gambling prospects. When the senator refuses to pay the exorbitant sum Geary demands, Michael tells him he'll get nothing and stops their call. Michael also has to cope with his conceited younger sister Connie, who's intending to wed Merle Johnson despite having recently ended her second marriage, and Michael disapproving of the match. Because of her brother's betrayal of the family decades ago, Connie still harbors resentment toward him. Carlo was killed. Michael also speaks with Hyman Roth's Jewish right-hand man, Johnny Ola, who's encouraging him to enter the gambling business. Michael finally deals with Frank Five Angels Pentinelli, a business partner who succeeded Peter Clemenza as the Corleone Kipper regime in New York City after his passing and is now at odds with the Rosato brothers, who are supported by Roth. After telling Michael that your father did business with Hyman Roth, your father respected Hyman Roth, but your father never trusted Hyman Roth. Pentinelli quickly departs. Later that evening, Michael narrowly escapes a hit when his wife Kay observes that the window coverings in the bedroom are strangely open, allowing two masked hitmen to shoot the room. The two hitmen are discovered dead with the facility, having been murdered by a mole. After that, Michael tells his lawyer and business partner Tom Hagen that someone close to him helped pull off the hit and that he must leave, giving Hagen complete control over the situation in order to safeguard his family. A flashback starts in 1917 in New York City. Together with his pal Genco Abondando, the adult Vito Corleone works in a food store on Manhattan's Lower East Side. Don Finucci, a member of the Black Hand, rules the neighborhood and demands security money from nearby companies. One evening, Vito's neighbor Clemenza asks him to hide a cache of guns for him. Later, as payment, Clemenza brings Vito to a posh apartment where they steal their first crime together, a pricey rug. Time travel to Michael's era in Miami, Florida. Michael meets with Hyman Roth, who informs him that he thinks Frank Pentinelli was behind the attempted murder and that Pentinelli will pay for it. When Michael arrives in Brooklyn, he informs Pentinelli that Roth was really irresponsible and that he has a plan to deal with Roth. However, in order to surprise Roth, Michael needs Frankie to work with the Rosato brothers. Frado learns that he's the family traitor when Johnny Ola, Hyman Roth's right-hand man, calls him in the middle of the night while he's asleep. Fredo and Johnny Ola concoct a plan in which Johnny Ola informs Fredo that Frank Pentinelli will reconcile with the Rosato brothers. Johnny Ola queries Fredo regarding the details of their meeting, including if Pentinelli will be alone. In refusal to cooperate, Fredo instructs Johnny Ola not to call him ever again. When Pentinelli goes to meet the Rosatos in a neighborhood pub, he's accosted from behind and told Michael Corleone says hello. But the attempted murder is unintentionally stopped by a police officer, while Willie Cicci, Pentinelli's bodyguard was firing at the Rosatos as they fled. He was struck by a car and left for dead. When Senator Geary is accused of killing a prostitute in a brothel run by Michael's older brother Fredo back in Nevada, Tom Hagen is sent to the scene and makes an offer to solve the issue in exchange for the senator and the Corleone family's friendship. At the same time as communist insurgents are attempting to overthrow the government and dictator Fulgencio Batista is looking for American investment, Michael meets Roth in Havana, Cuba in late 1958. At Roth's birthday celebration, Michael brings up the potential that the rebels might triumph, which would complicate their commercial activities in Cuba. Michael had earlier seen a communist guerrilla blow up a Havana policeman with a grenade, killing both the rebel and the policeman. In response to the statement, Roth confides in a friend that Michael has not delivered the $2 million necessary to cement their collaboration. When Fredo arrives in Havana with the promised funds, he runs into Michael. Fredo claims he has never met Hyman Roth or Johnny Ola, despite Michael mentioning them to him. Michael tells his brother that Roth attempted to kill him and that he intends to do so once more. Michael promises Fredo that Hyman Roth will never see the new year and that he has already taken action. Michael asks Roth who gave the order to have Frank Pentinelli assassinated rather than giving him the money. Roth sidesteps the subject by ranting violently about the assassination of his longtime friend Mo Green, which Michael had planned. Since Fredo is familiar with Havana, Michael has requested him to show Senator Geary and other notable government and business figures a nice time, while Fredo makes out he doesn't know Johnny Ola. Johnny Ola is shot as he tries to kill Roth, who is being transported to a hospital in a vulnerable state due to a heart problem. At midnight on New Year's Eve at Batista's party, Michael kisses Fredo while holding him by the hand and says, "I know it was you, Fredo. You destroyed my heart." Despite Michael's pleading that Fredo is still his brother and that leaving is the only option when insurgents attack, Fredo refuses to leave with him. Another retrospective image, now that the Black Hands Don Finucci is aware of Vito Clemenza and Sal Tessio's relationship, he wants a weekly cut of their income. Although Clemenza and Tessio agree to make the payment, Vito is hesitant and begs his friends to leave him in charge so that Finucci will accept less. In the end, Vito is successful in convincing Finucci to accept only 1/6 of what he had requested. Vito kills Finucci in the corridor outside his apartment right after that during the neighborhood fiesta and then meets up with his wife and 3 kids on the stoops outside his tenement. Michael's father loves him a lot, Vito tells the little child. After escaping Cuba, Michael arrives in Nevada in January 1959. Tom Hagen informs him that Roth escaped from Cuba after having a stroke and is currently recuperating in Miami. Then, Michael's bodyguard has passed away, and that Fredo is presumably hiding in New York. Michael is also told by Hagen that Kay miscarried while he was abroad. Tom is unable to inform Michael the sex of the child, who's fiercely demanding to know after hearing the shocking news. Another flashback shows Finucci dead, and without anyone else to lead the Black Hand, Vito gains the trust of the community and starts mediating neighborhood disputes while working out of the storefront of the Genco Pure Olive Oil Company, which he also manages. He also extends favors to other members of the neighborhood, like a local young woman who's facing eviction. Vito threatens her landlord, forcing him to grant her a couple of further weeks of rent-free living. In 1959, a Senate committee in Washington, D.C., of which Senator Geary is a member, is looking into the Corleone family. They question disgruntled soldier Willie Cicci about his function as the family's button man, but he's unable to link Michael to the crime because he never got any orders directly from him. Senator Geary makes a huge show of supporting Italian Americans when Michael testifies before the committee before withdrawing. Michael disputes all charges brought against him during interrogation, including those related to the 1946 slayings of Sollozzo and Captain Mikulski, as well as his current position as the owner of multiple casinos in Nevada. Michael challenges the committee to present a witness to support the accusations leveled against him. The Rosato brothers' attack survivor Frank Pentinelli has struck a deal with the FBI and will testify against Michael. Tom Hagen and Michael talk about the issue, pointing out that Roth's plot to eliminate Michael is well thought out. Although Roth believes there would be something in it for him, he adamantly denies knowing they intended to murder Michael. Michael is also informed by him that Roth is the chief lawyer for the Senate committee. Then, Michael informs Fredo, "I don't care about you anymore. Nothing, not a buddy, not a brother," and tells soldier and button man Al Neri in private that Fredo shouldn't be hurt while their mother is still alive. When Michael shows up for the hearing where Frank Pentinelli is scheduled to testify, he's accompanied by Pentinelli's brother, who has been flown in from Sicily. and the appearance of his brother prompts Frank to retract his previous accusations against Michael. When questioned, Pentinelli asserts that he simply gave the FBI the information they requested. The committee adjourns with Hagen serving as Michael's attorney, adamantly demanding an apology because there's no witness to testify against Michael. After that, Kay makes an attempt to depart from Michael in a hotel room while bringing their kids with her. The moment she tells Michael that her recent miscarriage was actually an abortion to prevent having another child into Michael's illegal inheritance, he loses his cool and slaps her severely. Time travels back to 1925 in yet another flashback. Vito Corleone is introduced to the elderly 90-year-old Don Ciccio as the man who imports their olive oil to America and who needs his approval while in Sicily for the first time in more than 20 years on a family holiday. When Ciccio inquires about Vito's father, the latter responds, "My father's name is Antonio Andolini, and this is for you," before slicing open the elderly man's stomach with a knife to get revenge for the deaths of his mother, father, and brother. Don Tomasello gets shot in the leg by one of Ciccio's bodyguards as they attempt to flee from his compound and his men, leaving him with a limp for the rest of his life. The Corleone family comes together for Carmela Corleone's burial in April 1959 when she passes away. Carmela was Vito's wife and the mother of his children. Hyman Roth, who has been refused entry into Israel as a returned Jew and has been unsuccessfully seeking asylum from a number of nations, is the subject of a discussion between Michael, Tom Hagen, and Rocco Lampone. Michael rejects Hagen's opinion that executing Roth and the Rosato brothers for vengeance is an unnecessary risk given the security of the Corleone family's position. Later, Hagen visits Frank Pentinelli in prison on a military post and urges him to commit suicide, following in the footsteps of failed conspirators in ancient Rome who were assured that their families would be cared for after their deaths. Kay sees her kids with Connie's help, but she can't bear to leave them and stays too long. When Michael enters, he stomps the door shut in her face. The movie ends in a death and assassination montage that's similar to the conclusion of Part 1. Hyman Roth is slain by Rocco Lampone, posing as a journalist at an airport as he arrives to be arrested. Roth's security then shoot and kill Lampone dead. Frank Pentinelli is discovered dead on the military base after, according to Hagen's advice, and committing suicide in his bathtub. While they are fishing on Lake Tahoe, Fredo is killed by Al Neri as he says a Hail Mary to help catch a fish. The post-credit shows the Corleone family planning a surprise birthday celebration for their father Vito in 1941. Sonny introduces his family to Carlo, Connie's future spouse and Sonny's betrayer. Tom Hagen discusses how his father has high expectations from Michael, while Sonny mocks Michael's decision. The only person who agrees with his brother's choice is Fredo. Michael is the only one who stays in the room to welcome Vito when Sal Tescio enters with a party cake. Michael is shown sitting by himself at Lake Tahoe in the movie's last scene, thinking quietly to himself. And that's all about this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with such interesting movie recap videos here.